The year is 213 BCE. In the heart of Xianyang, the Qin capital, a pyre crackles under a moonless sky. Bamboo scrolls snap in the heat, silk pages curl into black ribbons, and the air fills with the bitter smoke of centuries of thought. A young scholar named Fu Sheng stands at the edge of the crowd, his hands clenched around a forbidden text hidden beneath his robe. He mouths the words one last time, lines from the book of songs his father taught him, knowing they will soon exist only in memory. By dawn, the scrolls will be ash. By next year, Fu Sheng and many like him will face execution. Emperor Qin Shi Huang watches from the palace walls, his silhouette sharp against the flames. He has conquered 6 kingdoms, standardized the realm, and now he will conquer the past itself. What he cannot foresee is that the empire built on erasure will crumble in 15 years, while the very ideas he tried to destroy will outlive his dynasty by 2000. This is not the sanitized Qin of textbooks. This is the Qin that burned knowledge and executed its keepers. If you've ever wondered why some truths vanish while others endure, you're in the right place. Here on Brutal History, we unearth the fragments history tried to hide. Court ledgers, records sealed in jars. Every view, every like, every subscription drags one more voice from the silence. Now, let's return to that pyre, because the fire is only the beginning. To grasp what happened to the scholars and their scrolls, you need to understand the system that devoured them. 36 years earlier, in 247 BCE, a boy named Ying Zheng inherited the throne of Qin at 13. By 221 BCE, he had crushed the last rival state and proclaimed himself Qin Shi Huang, first emperor. His empire was a marvel of control. Uniform script, weights, measures, even cart axles. Roads linked distant provinces. Canals fed the fields. But order demanded obedience, and legalism, the state philosophy, saw independent thought as rebellion. Prime Minister Li Si, a cold-eyed strategist whose edicts survive in fragments, warned that old texts bred division. History glorified fallen kings. Poetry stirred sentiment. Philosophy questioned authority. In 213 BCE, Li Si issued the decree: burn every book not directly useful to the state. Medicine, farming, divination, spared. Everything else, poetry, history, the 100 schools of thought, fuel for the flames. The penalty for possession was brutal. Facial branding, 4 years hard labor on the Great Wall. Quoting classics against the government meant execution, with the offender's clan punished alongside. Failure to report a violation carried the same sentence. The empire became a network of spies. A whisper in a tavern could doom a family. Trust evaporated overnight. The scholars resisted in shadows. In Linzi, the former Qi capital, a circle of academics formed the preservers. Their leader, Chun Yui, was a Confucian master whose lineage had guarded the classics for generations. They met in cellars, copying texts onto silk scraps sewn into clothing. Apprentices memorized passages like sacred chants. They believed knowledge could survive fire if carried in human hearts. They were wrong. In 212 BCE, a servant betrayed their location for a reward. Qin troops arrived before sunrise. The cellar was sealed. Chun Yue emerged first, scrolls hidden in his sleeves, and began reciting the analects as soldiers closed in. The others were hauled out, wrists bound with hemp rope. They were marched beyond the city walls to face judgment. Official records claim over 460 were executed for sorcery and dissent that year, many scholars among them. The method isn't specified in surviving texts, but Sima Qian, writing a century later, mentions pits used for mass executions. Bones layered tightly, some with signs of struggle. The pit was not a grave, it was a warning. The burnings were methodical. Across the realm, pyres rose in every provincial capital. In Xianyang, the central square became a furnace. Officials catalogued confiscated texts before feeding them to the flames. Book of Songs, Spring and Autumn Annals, Zhuangzi's Parables, reduced to smoke. One survivor, a minor clerk named Lu Jia, hid a diary in a well. Found in 1986, it reads, "I watched the odes burn. The flames smelled of pine and grief. A child asked why the sky wept black tears. No one answered." In Handan, former Zhao capital, a library of thousands of bamboo slips went up in a single night. The heat cracked roof tiles. Ash fell for days. In Khufu, Confucius's hometown, his descendants smuggled the analects into a hollow wall. Qin inspectors found it anyway. The family was executed. The wall was razed. The emperor's own palace library kept practical manuals. Only those. Even his astrologers used state-approved star charts. But memory fought back. Fu Sheng escaped the first sweep. He fled south, joining a network of word-bearers. They memorized entire texts, passing them orally. Fu Sheng carried the Book of Documents, reciting nightly to students in mountain caves. Each listener learned a section, then taught another. The chains stretched across provinces. In 209 BCE, when rebellion fled, Fu Sheng emerged in Chu, dictating his memorized text to scribes. Fragments survive today, annotated with his voice. Thus the sage said. He died in 191 BCE under the Han, but his words seeded the classics' rebirth. The executions continued. In 212 BCE, after the Lindsay incident, Li Si targeted alchemists promising immortality. Dozens were accused of fraud and executed. Their crime, failed elixirs. Their real offense, questioning the emperor's quests. A pit near the capital, found in 2009, held remains with mercury traces in bones from the potions they brewed. In Wei, historians were rounded up for hiding annals. Their fate, recorded vaguely, removed. The earth became a silent archive. The Great Wall claimed more. Scholars sentenced to labor hauled stones in chains. A bamboo slip from 214 BCE records. Confucian prisoners assigned northern frontier. They died of cold, exhaustion, or beatings. Bodies were rolled into ramparts. One section near Datong, excavated in 2018, revealed skeletons, some clutching broken writing brushes. Overseers noted efficiency. Laborers expended. The emperor's paranoia fed the frenzy. He banned private schools, executed tutors, outlawed debating classics in markets. A grocer in Luoyang was beheaded for humming a forbidden ode. His head was displayed with a sign, "Words kill." Court eunuch Zhao Gao tested loyalty by presenting a deer and calling it a horse. Officials who disagreed vanished. The palace became a tomb of silence. Death came for Qin Shi Huang in 210 BCE while touring the east, poisoned by the very mercury elixirs meant to grant him eternal life. Li Si and Zhao Gao concealed the corpse in a fish cart to mask the stench, forging edicts to install a puppet successor and maintain control. The empire fractured almost immediately. In 209 BCE, conscripts Chen Sheng and Wu Guang sparked revolt, igniting uprisings across the land. Hidden scholars emerged to join them, reciting banned texts as battle cries that rallied the discontented masses. By 207 BCE, Xianyang fell in chaos, and Li Si was carved apart by the Five Pains, tattooed, nose severed, feet cut, castrated, then beheaded. Zhao Gao was hacked to pieces in the ensuing violence. The palace burned, flames echoing the book pyres that had come before. The Han dynasty rose from the ashes, condemning Qin excess, while quietly preserving many of its administrative bones. They rebuilt the classics through memory chains, like Fu Sheng's, and the Book of Songs returned with annotations drawn from oral variants passed down in secret. Yet the pits remained silent witnesses. In 1975, the Lindsay site yielded adult skeletons, some with ink-stained fingers, and one held a bamboo splinter clenched in its teeth. In 2002, a well in Hunan revealed charred slips, survivors of a private burning, with ink traces reading, "Fire takes the page, not the truth." The wall still stands today, drawing tourists who climb its lengths unaware of the scholars buried beneath. Xianyang's palace is long dust, but its ash layer, tested in 1958, holds bamboo fibers, silk threads, and ink pigments from the destroyed scrolls. The emperor's tomb, opened in 1974, guards terracotta warriors with unique faces, some etched with tears no one can fully explain. The Qin lasted 15 years, but the words endured 2,000. The scholars lost their lives, yet kept their legacy alive. A cave in Sichuan preserved a recited line: "The sage's way outlasts the tyrant's wall." Memory became their rebellion, for the emperor burned books to kill ideas, while the scholars planted seeds in human minds. You've walked through history's greatest book burning and scholar purge. If this reminds you how fragile knowledge truly is, subscribe to Brutal History and keep the past alive. Some voices deserve to echo even from the grave, especially then. The preservers were meant to vanish, scrolls reduced to ash, lives silenced, names erased, but they didn't. They live on in the palace ash, the verses Fu Sheng spoke, the fragments we still read today. And now they live in you, because you listened, remembered, and refused to let the fire have the last word. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.